To my subscribers, I apologize for the earlier video. Was not aware. I hadn't been having any issues as far as my audio, and I wasn't aware at all that something like that would happen. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, this is a response to 7 Sports TV's video referring to the little Jim Brown, Kobe Bryant feud that's going on right now. Jim Brown, as most of you know, appeared on Arsenio's show last night, and he pretty much revealed that although he admires Kobe Bryant's athletic abilities and the things he's accomplished in his career, he's not too enthusiastic about Kobe Bryant as far as his social awareness and cultural awareness and things he's done as far as what he perceives as things he should be doing for the black community. Kobe Bryant today responded on Twitter basically saying that he doesn't understand how Jim Brown can view someone like him who has pretty much a global perspective of things and has been exposed to different cultures. How is he inferior to someone who I guess he sees as a more typical African American who is only exposed to American culture, what is perceived as American culture? And also in that text, with Twitter text, Kobe has a way of, he's not very good at expressing himself on Twitter. I'm assuming he's trying to belittle Brown by comparing him to Mandela and Dr. King, but basically saying, he's not really on those on their level. But anyway, these are my feelings about it. I'm kind of glad that video didn't go through all the way because I had a little bit more time to think about it. I understand where Jim Brown's coming from. Okay, I personally, am disappointed in the fact that there's a lot less social awareness or apparent social awareness with a lot of, not even just black athletes in particular, but just black celebrities. You don't really see it anymore. They don't take stands or anything. You have your little, stances here or there, and it usually comes only when the mainstream or there's other people that kind of go along with them, so they're not alone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you very rarely see a black athlete or a black celebrity take a stance on something but solo. You just rarely see it, and usually in today's age, you might be committing career suicide. Also, having said that, I think Mr. Brown has to realize something, that in today's era, you have a lot more black millionaires and a few black billionaires. Your name becomes a brand. All right. A lot of athletes now, a lot of celebrities, they're interested in becoming businessmen. All right. They're trying to leave a legacy past themselves and also their children. All right. And we all know that business really doesn't mesh well with cultural, what's considered controversy, controversial remarks or controversial stances. All right. So you can't expect someone who has an empire or a fledgling empire or someone who aspires to become a big name in business to want to take stances on certain things, because a lot of times, most of the times actually, when you're trying to become a businessman, particularly if you're black or minority, you got to go mainstream. And like Kanye West is seeing, you can't say certain things in public and then get upset when certain people who are mainstream, people who are billionaires, don't want to associate with you or do business with you. You can't have it both ways. So that's one reason why a lot of athletes today kind of stay away from that. They refrain from saying things that might be controversial. Even if they are, in my opinion, it would be the right thing for them to do. They have to look at it like that. We can't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to sometimes look at things from their perspective. I might feel that Kobe Bryant needs to say more about racism and talk more about the cultural racism that permeates in our society. But if he keeps talking on and on about that, then they're going to talk about that in the media. He's always going to be attached to that, and then maybe certain sponsors are going to kind of stop want to deal with him. And you got to look. You got to look at a lot of different things, man. You know. All right. Also, and I have no proof of this, but this is just my opinion. Okay. Now, this is just opinion. I think that to an extent, there's a level of jealousy involved here. Not so much with Kobe Bryant himself. I think there's, like I said, a level of jealousy and resentment. Jim Brown is arguably, you could arguably say he's the greatest running back of all time. But he's definitely top 3. All right. You got to put him, Jim Brown, with Walter Payton and Barry Sanders to me. Those are the top 3 guys as far as running backs in NFL history. Jim Brown could have destroyed the record books if he played a different era. I believe most of the games that he played, most of the seasons that he played in, there was only 12 games. He retired at age 29, I believe it was. He has the highest yards per carry average in NFL history, 5.2 yards per carry. And one of the reasons why, if I remember correctly, he left the NFL at such a young age, it was not the only reason, but one of the reasons was, I'm pretty sure, money issue. You know what I mean? We're talking about 1965. All right. This is 5 years before Monday Night Football and Howard Cosell and Don Meredith and all those cats. You know what I'm saying? And this is even before the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl. So the NFL was not the sports Goliath that it is now. At that time, baseball ruled. Baseball players had the highest salaries. And back then, $90,000 a year, $100,000 a year, and baseball was a good salary. So I could imagine, I don't have numbers in front of me, but I could imagine what Jim Brown made. I don't think he was at 6 figures. So I think it's one of the reasons why he went into the movies, which did not work as well as he thought, I would assume, you know. So it has to burn him. He may not admit it, but it has to burn him, a legendary football player like him, to see these guys, these overpaid bums, or these guys with talent, but just don't, they have these one season wonders, and then all of a sudden, they just don't show up. Then you have these guys like Larry Johnson with the Chiefs, who threw away his career. And like you say, you have guys today who one season wonders, but then kind of don't, the rest of their careers are just kind of, subpar. Chris Johnson, and it has to burn him up. And I know there's a level of resentment there. It has to be. He sees these guys with these huge contracts now, these star players, and I know he just wanted himself. I know he probably thinks, wow, if I was born 40 years later, I don't think he would. Well, I kind of take that back a little bit. I don't think that he wishes that he was born 40 years later. But I know he sometimes thinks to himself, if I was just 40 years younger, imagine how much money I could get from a franchise. You know what I'm saying? The way they play, the way the league is now, it would be robbery. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I said, I understand where Jim Brown's coming from, but he doesn't know Kobe Bryant to be calling him an Uncle Tom. I remember before Kobe Bryant was five-time champion and all that, and before him and Shaq were winning championships. I remember when Kobe was first drafted, and I remember a lot of people who I knew looked at Kobe and looked at his background and looked at the way he even talked. And the things that I remember attached to Kobe back then, the adjectives were cornball, white, Uncle Tom. I remember hearing these things before. This is before Kobe became a global phenomenon. Or this is like 1996, 1997, his rookie year, when he was popular, but he was not what he is now. And I used to defend Kobe Bryant because I could relate to that. I remember when I was 6, 7 years old, I had a speech impediment. I talked with a lisp and I stuttered. And I stuttered really bad, and I had a speech therapist. I remember it was a white woman, and she taught me how to speak. Now, because she's a teacher and she's a white woman, I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just being real. When she taught me how to speak, basically she taught me how to speak very proper. You know what I'm saying? And I pretty much have the rest of my, since then, I have a certain way of talking, which some people in my culture find a little weird. I kind of put emphasis on certain words. I pronounce my words a little bit differently, but that doesn't make me an Uncle Tom. It's weird because people like Malcolm X use perfect language. When they want to call him Uncle Tom, you know what I'm saying? It's stupid. It's ridiculous that someone would call Kobe Bryant an Uncle Tom. Based on what? Based on what? Because of who he married? Because of the way he talks? Because if you want to look at it like that, well, look at Floyd Mayweather. Look who he hangs around with. This is a guy who said, what did he say? He wouldn't have a black car, only white cars? What the fuck is that? And then you look at the thing he did with Larry Merchant, where he pretty much, apologized to Larry Merchant, and Larry Merchant didn't apologize back. Larry Merchant might well just pat him on the head. Oh, thank you, Floyd. Thank you, boy. But he didn't apologize back to him. But why couldn't you apologize to your father? I don't know, man. I'm trying. I know Floyd didn't really have anything to do with this video, but I just used him as a reason why there's a double standard here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Jim Brown was out of line with the things that he said. If you never had a conversation with someone, you shouldn't call him Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? And I know about that because I've been accused of that here on YouTube, of being Uncle Tom. Just because you hear me say certain things. Because I talk to a person who you may not like, who's a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? I will never judge someone and call them Uncle Tom unless I have irrefutable proof or actions that show that this person is someone you cannot trust. Other than that, I think Jim Brown's out of line, and I think Jim Brown should apologize to Kobe Bryant because he should not say that. You have to have proof of that. Now, with Michael Jordan, there's some proof. There is some proof, and Jim Brown has gone to Michael Jordan in the past. This isn't about Michael Jordan, but he has said things in the past, and he's done some things that are questionable. But with Kobe Bryant, I don't see it. So, on this instance, I'm siding with Kobe, and I think Jim Brown needs to apologize to him. That's all I got to say about that.